So when we were talking about before about the screen and the movie and the light, it actually always points back to identification. We're always making false identification, and therefore we lose who we really are then.
We never lose who we are. It just appears that we are somebody other than ourselves. Because your natural state of being is identify yourself as the self. Means identity is your natural state of being. Identity of being awareness, identifying yourself as awareness, is the primal direct experience of yourself.
But most of us identify outside of it.
It's because the identity moved because of the light. The light was reflecting, it moved upon the image. The first image, which is the first thought, I. So the I thought appears to be identical with I, which is not a thought, awareness. And that the I thought superimposes itself on a physical body, and that thought appears to be identical as the body. This is what in the seer and the seen he calls mutual misidentification.
Why you use the word mutual?
Because it's identify. Its identification is from awareness and from the body. So it says, I am aware and I am a physical body. And then he says, I am a physical body, so the physical body is aware. So most people believe that the physical body is sentient, when the truth is the body is insentient. They take it farther. They are not so nice in the scriptures. They say that this is like a corpse. Even while alive, the body is like a corpse. It's full of filth. They break it all apart. They're saying, it's like a corpse. It's insentient. And the mind is insentient too. It is not conscious entity. The only conscious entity is yourself, which is pure consciousness. Because it is the only conscious entity, and it illuminates itself and everything else, it illuminates the thoughts, the body, the senses, and the world. So we think that everything else has a consciousness, that it is a conscious entity. Nothing is a conscious entity except consciousness itself.
Not easy.
To digest.
Not easy to digest.
The red pill or the blue pill? Because we are so mesmerized, hypnotized by the imagination, believing it to be real. Therefore we believe the apparent world, what we perceive to be so real, and we are so conditioned to it that we have to dehypnotize the mind to come out of this hypnosis.
The same way it was hypnotized.
Yes.
So we're back
The
to
same knowledge. Maya story. She created it. She has all the knowledge to undo herself back to the source.
So we have to sort of, the new word out there is auto-suggestion. We have to constantly
Dehypnotize.
dehypnotize by auto-suggesting the truth. Repeating the truth over and over.
That would be good. That would build concentration. I am that which is aware.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to Ramana, so they ask him, who am I? Or he is posing the question. The gross body, which is composed of the 7 humorous, I am not. The 5 cognitive sense organs, viz. The senses of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell, which apprehend their respective objects, viz. Sound, touch, color, taste, and odor, I am not. The 5 cognitive sense organs, viz. The organs of speech, locomotion, grasping, excretion, and procreation, which have as their respective functions speaking, moving, grasping, excreting, and enjoying, I am not. The 5 vital airs, prana, which perform respectively the 5 functions of in, breathing, etc., I am not. Even the mind which thinks, I am not. The nescience, ignorance, too, which is endowed only with the residual impressions of objects, and which there are no objects and no functionings, I am not. If I am none of these, then who am I? After negating all the above mentioned as not this, that awareness which alone remains, that I am. What is the nature of awareness? The nature of awareness is existence, consciousness, bliss. When will the realization of the self be gained? When the world, which is what is seen, has been removed. There will be the realization of the self, which is the seer. When the world, which is what is seen, being perceived, has been removed. That means the perceiver has to be removed. There will be realization of the self, which is the seer. Another word for the witness. So the form is perceived, and the physical eye is its perceiver. The physical eye is perceived, and the mind is its perceiver. The mind and its modification is perceived, and the witness is verily the perceiver. Yet the witness is not perceived by any other. That means that witness is yourself, is the source. If we look at identification, as long as there is the belief that the mind is real, the realization would be partial. Glimpses and then misidentifying. Glimpses, misidentifying. Glimpses, misidentifying. Because when the mind would appear and there would be a sense of I believe the mind to be real, there is no realization of the self in that instant. That has to be recognized so it can be witnessed and discriminated vigilantly, like being disregarded. Not having the idea that it might not going to come up. When it comes up, you have to find the way to disidentify from it. You find what works for you, except be determined, be committed, be earnest about it, be totally with that. Because if there is any slight leaning to believing it, boom, no realization of the self. That means in that instant you forgot who you are. You might have an intellectual understanding, I am that, blah, blah, blah. There is no the experience of I am that. An intellectual understanding does not satisfy anyone. It can give a temporary relief. This is really essential to understand, because it's like if we intellectually understand how good the restaurant is, and the food is fabulous, and unless we eat it and experience it, it doesn't satisfy us. So only real satisfaction, and when there is the immediate direct recognition of yourself as the silent awareness, which is you, before the thoughts, behind the thoughts.